y'all, it's Ashley at Bookish Rome, and as you can see from the title of this video, this is my September TBR. But the catch is that I am going to be focusing this month on reading what I want to read, and I think that's something that I need to do here on out. I know that I have obligations with like buddy reads and ARCs that I'm getting from publishers, but I think that I also need to give myself a little bit more flexibility during the month because I am at heart a mood reader, and I still do TBRs. I film TBRs because it helps me maintain some sense of structure. But this month was really hard because I felt like I was reading for all these purposes except for my enjoyment. That's not to say that I haven't enjoyed anything that I read, because I've enjoyed a lot of stuff that I've read this month. But I think that it's getting to the point where I feel like I'm reading for everything but pleasure and what I want to read. So I don't want to get burnt out. I don't want to start unfairly judging books because I'm not in a good mood when I'm reading the materials. So this month I am going to try something new. You guys let me know if you like it or not, in which I'm going to show you books that are currently on my radar. So these are books I may or may not get to, but these are things in the past month that I've been eyeing and I really want to read. This is not going to necessarily include all the new releases that I'm interested in picking up. If you want to see the new releases that I'm interested in picking up, you can check out my September new releases video, which is a whole bunch of stuff that I'm really interested in reading. But this also won't include any ARCs that I'll be reading throughout the month. This is specifically just going to look at books that I have been eyeing, that I'm interested in picking up. Whether I get to them or not, we don't know. Now, what you will see with this is that I am definitely pushing off of science fiction and fantasy. I'm a little burnt out on science fiction and fantasy. I've been reading a lot of it lately. So you're going to see a lot of contemporary stuff. You're going to see a lot of comics, and you're going to see a lot of manga, a lot of romance, etc. So I hope you all enjoy. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and we'll go from here and see how this goes, whether we'll do the same thing in October. So the first thing that I have on my radar is actually a group of books, and it is the Reluctant Royal series by Alyssa Cole, and that is comprised of A Princess in Theory, A Duke by Default, A Prince on Paper, Once Ghosted Twice Shy, and Can't Escape Love. So if you didn't know, the Reluctant Royal series follows a character by the name of Naledi. She's a graduate student. She works multiple jobs, and she keeps getting these emails essentially saying that she is betrothed to this prince. She thinks they're spam. She thinks they're a con, but really it actually is true. There is a prince by the name of Thebitso who is looking for her because he is betrothed to her, and he comes to America looking for her, and she thinks that he's more of a pauper instead of a prince, and the romance kicks off from there. I really did enjoy the first one, A Princess in Theory, but I had a little bit of a hard time, I think, with A Duke by Default, because this one focuses on her best friend, who I didn't care for as much in the series. But I think these are all connected, but they all follow different characters. I still haven't read the other three in the series. The next one that I have is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. You all know that I have read this book already. I've talked about it a lot, but it is being released in September, and I am excited to possibly do a reread of this. This focuses on a girl by the name of Enchanted. Enchanted has this dream, this vision to become a singer, and she connects with this famous singer called Corey, and Corey decides to take her under his wing and train her and give her the opportunity to possibly get a record deal. But then things go horribly wrong, and this is such a phenomenal book, but also not an easy book. I have done a full review on this, non-spoiler, so I'll make sure I link that in the card symbol above if you want to check it out. But I really want to do a reread because I want to annotate this, and I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars when I read it earlier this year, so I'm anticipating, of course, loving it again and enjoying it even more when I read it again. The next book that I have here is A Harlequin Desire, and it's Savannah's Secrets by Reese Ryan. This is about a girl by the name of Savannah, and she was attempting to infiltrate this company, this business, because half of it supposedly was supposed to go to her grandfather, and they took it from her, but then she ends up kind of in a situation with the sole heir to the company named Blake, and they have a one-night stand, and she ends up pregnant. So I have not read a romance book with pregnancy trope, so I'm interested in how this is going to read. I actually was interested in the fourth book in the series. I saw the cover and I was like, well, that looks really, really good. And then I found out that it was the fourth book in the series, so I went ahead and just got the first ones. And I don't think I've ever read a Harlequin Desire, but I see them all the time at the library, so we're gonna go with it. I have another Harlequin Desire, and this one is Temporary Wife Temptation by J.C. Lee. This book is about Garrett Song, and he is supposed to get married to someone that the matriarch of the family chooses, but in order to kind of stop that from happening, he enlists a woman by the name of Natalie, and Natalie and him have this fake engagement going on. But of course, you know, with fake marriage, fake dating, fake betrothal, or fake engagement stories, of course they end up falling in love, which I like fake engagement, fake dating tropes. So I think this one is going to be interesting. This is the first book in a series as well, and I really, really love that cover. The next one that I have is also another Alyssa Cole book, but this is a historical romance, and this is about Elijah and Kate. Elijah was promised land, I believe, if he fought for the Patriot side during the Revolutionary War, and Kate was promised her freedom if she fought for the British side during the Revolutionary War. And I think that Elijah gets kidnapped by the British, and then they come face to face, and he got kidnapped in an attempt to help Kate. So they have to kind of figure things out, and of course I'm sure they fall in love, and it goes from there. This is actually really short. This is only 82 pages long, so it's really, really thin, but I love this cover, y'all. I love the cover. Next, I want to read my first Beverly Jenkins historical romance, and this is Through the Storm, and this is about a man by the name of Raymond, and he is a Union soldier. He's supposed to get married, and what ends up happening is that he fell in love with someone, but this individual double crosses him, and then he basically tells his family that they can choose who he could marry, and it ends up being the same woman who double crossed him, and her name is Sable, and she is a previous slave who has escaped. And I think there was conflict between the two of them because she apparently was a rebel spy, but then not really, and he feels betrayed by her, of course, because she would have been a rebel spy and he fought for the Union. So I'm interested in this. I heard that Beverly Jenkins historical romances are always geared towards teaching you something about history in general, and I've never read one of her historical romances. I've read her other series, the Blessing series, which I feel like is a little bit more on the contemporary side than historical side. So I'm ready to pick this up. I'm ready to take the dive. The next one that I have is Oh My Gods by Alexandra Shepherd, and this is about a girl by the name of Helen who lives in London with her father, who has other kids that are actual Olympians, like gods and goddesses, Greek gods and goddesses. So this is more so, I think, about Helen's journey and trying to maintain a normal life while being related to Greek gods and goddesses and finding romance. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this one, but it's one that I'm excited to read. The reviews seem to be okay, the ones that I have seen on Goodreads, but I absolutely love that cover. So the next one that I have here is Finding Joy by Adriana Herrera, and this is about two guys. The first guy's name is Desta, and he on his 26th birthday ends up in Ethiopia, and he doesn't want to be there because there are conflicting feelings that he's having about his happiest moments being there, but then also like his most sad moments being there. And then the other character's name is Elias, and he actually is trying to go to the United States, or make the decision to go to the United States to go to school, but he's having trouble deciding whether he really wants to leave his homeland. And then Elias and Desta end up crossing paths, and I'm sure there's this exploration of seeing the world through the other individual's eyes, and I think this is going to be a really cute contemporary romance. I think that Audrey from Perpetual Pages has read this and they really enjoyed it. So I'm anticipating liking it because their reviews and their reading taste is really, really good. All right, so next I have some middle grade here. The first middle grade that I have, Goosebumps. I read the first 2 books, I believe last year or the year before, and I wanted to continue reading the 62 in order. So I have book 3, which is Monster Blood, and then I have book 4, which is Say Cheese and Die. And Say Cheese and Die is probably my favorite of the entire series. I love these books outside of Slappy. I like Slappy. He makes me not like dolls that have eyes that can actually like go up and down. Like if you touch their eyes, it goes up and down. But I just like the whole idea of Slappy. So I'm excited to get to this one. I don't think I've ever read Monster Blood, and I've read quite a few Goosebumps, but I'm pretty sure I've never read Monster Blood. So I'm excited to get to these 2. I also have Battle of the Labyrinth on this list. I can't tell you anything about it because this is the 4th book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. Of course, you know that I have read this series. I highly praise the series. I've been talking about Percy Jackson a lot in a lot of the lives that I've been doing, like the random lives where we've been doing like sprints and just chatting, and I keep pushing this on people, and it's made me want to read the series more and more and more. I started my reread. I read the first 3 in the past year or so, but I need to finish this one and get to the last one so I can just finally move on to the Heroes of Olympus and I can move on to the next series at hand. The next one that I have is Fablehaven by Brandon Mull. I have not read any Brandon Mull, and Trill was nice enough to give me the entire 5 Kingdoms set of Brandon Mull's works. But I wanted to start with Fablehaven, and Fablehaven is about a pair of siblings, Kendra and Seth, and their grandfather actually protects Fablehaven. He's the keeper of Fablehaven, where there are all these mystical and magical creatures that are kept in order, and then something happens and that order gets disturbed and they have to go and protect and save Fablehaven. So this is a 5-book series. I've heard nothing but fabulous things about Brandon Mull. I think that a lot of people have said that this is a pivotal middle grade series that I don't think gets necessarily enough attention. So if I do end up liking this one, I will pick up the next 4 in the series. Okay, so on to what's probably going to be my favorite part of the month. I have been dying to read comics and manga. I just have not had time within my TBR and my schedule to read them the way that I want to read them. So I have a whole pile here that I really want to get to in September, and September is my birthday month, y'all. So honestly, I should do what I want to do because September is my birthday month. It's baby's birthday month. We should just be able to do what we want to do and read whatever we want to read. But I'm going to go ahead because I have a huge stack here. I'm going to be super brief with the explanation. The first one that I have here is Uzumaki by Junji Ito, and this is about a town that is haunted by spirals. This is horror manga. I've heard nothing but good things about Junji Ito. I have been told not to read this at night. I have been told that this is going to freak me out. I have even this is just the end papers if you want to see. And I feel like this is going to be scary. It's going to pick up pace and get scary, and then it's going to completely freak me out. But I am so ready for my first Junji Ito, and I have Tomi over there, and I know that a new one just came out that he's done, so yeah. The next one that I have here is Monster, and this is by Naoki Urasawa, and this is one that I have already read. I actually have done a first impressions on this one, and I absolutely loved it. This is a very strange manga in the sense that I think it's more like a psychological thriller, and this is about this doctor who has decided to focus his life on saving lives, and you would think, oh, he's focusing his life on saving lives, that's such an amazing thing. But he makes a decision to fight to save someone's life that ends up becoming a serial killer. So years later, he has to deal with that decision that he makes, and he tries to contact the serial killer's twin sister to try to figure out why this man is going through and killing all of these people. Especially, I think it's a focus on couples that don't have children. and he has to live with that decision that he makes. So I know that I've already liked this. I just don't remember the particulars of the story, but I definitely am excited to pick it up. And then once I finish this, I will be getting the next volume. The next one that I have here is Princess Jellyfish, and this is by Akiko Higashimura, and this is about a girl who is living in this house that's based on geek fandom. Like, everybody in the house essentially has geeky fandom, and she goes to a pet shop one day and she encounters this woman that everybody apparently in this town has been trying to avoid because she's fashion forward, which is very interesting. But I think that she kind of changes the direction of everyone's life, and I've heard great things about Princess Jellyfish. I know that a lot of people do enjoy it. I got this copy from the library because I wanted to try it first and see if I did enjoy it, and if I did, then I would begin collecting the series. The next one that I have here is the Promised Neverland Volume 1, and this is by Kayu Shira. And this is about three kids by the name of Emma, Norman, and Ray, and they live in this house where they're well taken care of, they're well fed, they enjoy their lives, they're safe, they're comfortable, but then they discover why they have not had access to the world outside of where they live. And I'm interested in seeing why they've been kept in this house. I think this is going to be intriguing. I've seen quite a few people talk about this one, and it seems to be a series that most people enjoy, but I am excited to dig into it. The next one that I have here is Our Dreams at Dusk by Yuki Kamatani, and this is one that I found out about from Starla over on Starla Reads. And I think that this is going to be a great manga. It focuses on a young boy who's moved to a new town, and he is afraid that he's actually been outed as being gay, and then he is actually introduced to this group of other people who are actually experiencing the same things that he is experiencing. And this is a great insight to the LGBTQIA plus community and individuals in this manga that come from different backgrounds, and I've heard that this is phenomenal, so I can't wait to dive in. That cover is absolutely beautiful. The next one that I have here is A Silent Voice Volume 2 by Yoshitoki Oma, and I read the first volume a couple of months ago and absolutely enjoyed it. It is about these two students. One is deaf, the young girl is deaf, and she's bullied by this guy, and he's horrible to her, but it flashes back and forth, at least the first volume did, between past and present, where now he's trying to atone for the trauma that he has caused her. And I am so curious as to whether she's going to accept this apology, because it seemed like from the first volume like she is fearful of him, rightfully so, because he tortured her. But I wonder what has happened to him and what has happened to her, and how this relationship is going to end up working out. The next one that I have, of course, is Sailor Moon by Naoko Takeuchi, and this is one of the most well-known manga and anime probably on the planet. I grew up watching Sailor Moon when it came out in the 90s, and it's been a while since I've read a couple of these volumes. I think that I got all the way up to volume 4, but then I stopped, and I'm not sure why, so I wanted to start from the beginning. I'm pretty familiar with the entire story of Sailor Moon just based off of the original anime and then the Sailor Moon Crystal, but I just wanted to dive back in for nostalgia purposes and do a reread of the series. I'm sure everybody is familiar with Sailor Moon's young girl who comes across a cat by the name of Luna, and come to find out that she is actually part of this group and needs to be reawakened, and there are so many different Sailor individuals, Sailor Venus, Sailor Mars, Sailor Jupiter, but of course, you know, Sailor Moon. And they are saving the planet from a lot of different things because everybody is looking for the princess, I believe. Yes. The next one that I have is Oran High School Host Club by Bisco Hattori, and this is one that focuses on a young girl who ends up at a rich kids school, and then she accidentally intrudes on this host club, and then she breaks a vase that I think is $80,000, and as a form of retribution for breaking it, she has to work for this host club, but they don't know that she's a girl. They think she's a boy, and it gives her some insight to this whole rich culture and rich lifestyle culture, I mean, and also the fact that all the guys in this host club are attractive, so I'm sure a romance is going to ensue. This is one of those classic shoujo mangas that a lot of people enjoy, and I think it's only 18 volumes, so I think that this is one that I possibly could get through rather quickly. I have one graphic novel on this list, and that's When Stars Are Scattered by Victoria Jameson and Omar Muhammad. I just got this book, but this is one that I talked about that I really wanted to read on my mid-year book freakout tag, and this is basically a novelization, or a graphic novelization, of Omar Muhammad's experience growing up in a refugee camp in Kenya, and how his brother was nonverbal and he gets the opportunity to go to school, but he doesn't want to leave his brother because they are each other's family at this point. So I think that the artwork is going to be great. I know the artwork is going to be great because I enjoy Victoria Jameson as a graphic novel artist and writer, and I really enjoyed Roller Girl, which is one that she has that won the Newbery Honor, I believe. So this should be really, really great. I heard that it's heartbreaking, but I'm not surprised based on the content of the summary. And then the last things that I have on this already so long TBR are going to be some comics that have been on my radar lately that I've been itching to read. I've been itching to read comics just in general, and I have been in this final weeks of August. I've been reading some comics, but I wanted to catch up on Fable, so I left off this year on volume 5, and I need to read volume 6, which is Homelands, and volume 7, which is Arabian Nights and Days. Fables is about this group of fairy tale like individuals who have moved to New York to escape their homelands from the adversary, which is really discussed in this one, and it's about their journey and figuring out who the adversary is and defeating the adversary and trying to have some sense of normalcy. But it is one of my favorite comic book series of all time. I still have not finished it, but I'm doing a reread because I need to finish it and I need to read all the spin-offs. I also have The Wicked and the Divine, The False Act, which is volume 1, which I have read like 2 or 3 times already, but I just have not had the push that I've needed to get to finishing this series. It is officially finished, and I'm looking over at my shelf because I have the first 6 volumes now, I believe, thanks to Tia. So now is a time for me to just binge them, and this is one of my favorite comic book series as well. This is one of my favorite comic book series in terms of art. The artwork in these is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, just beautiful artwork, and I'm trying to find pictures that won't spoil you, but it's absolutely beautiful. So The Wicked and the Divine is actually about a group of gods and goddesses spread across many different cultures and religions that come every 90 years but only live for 2 years, and then they die again, and they take the form of humans that are already on earth, but then it's like their minds are attached to the god or goddess that they represent. I am so amped to reread this. It does get a little confusing at first, but if you've read it and you feel confused, like, I implore you, like, stick with it. Just stick with it, because it's one of those series that I think that you gotta keep reading to really understand the gist of it. But if I'm good enough, I will finish the series in September. We'll see. The next one that I have here is Harley Quinn's Greatest Hits, and I don't know if you all know, but Harley Quinn is one of my favorite DC characters, and I've been rereading some of the DC New 52 stuff. I'm starting from the beginning with DC New 52, which I know was not the most well done aspect of DC. DC New 52 is probably their weakest reboot that they've done so far, but I like some of the stories that are in DC New 52, so I started reading those on my Kindle from Hoopla. And I forgot that I actually had a copy of Harley Quinn's Greatest Hits, and I decided that I was going to read this because it includes Harley Quinn comics from across a series of different things that she's been in, and I think it's 8 of her best stories. So yes, I will be reading this. And the last thing that I'm going to be reading is Chew by John Layman and Rob Guillory. This is about a detective by the name of Tony Chu, but he has this special gift where he tastes things and he can tell you exactly where they came from. So they take him to murder scenes and he can taste the flesh of the individuals there and tell you exactly how and when they were murdered. So this gets really, really complex. I think this one is finished as well. Yes, it is finished because there is a crossover coming out this month in September, and I'm so upset that I haven't finished the series, so I can't read the crossover yet. So it's kind of pushed me to want to go ahead and finish and binge the series. I only have the first 2 volumes, so I have to get like 6 or 7 more volumes, but I can easily get those secondhand. But this is also one of my favorite comic book series. I read all the way up to volume 7 or 8, and it's good. It's really good. Take my word for it. All right, y'all. So that is it. That is my September TBR slash the books that are just really on my radar. We'll be interested in seeing like which ones of these I actually end up reading. As I said before, let me know if you all like this format. Let me know in the comment box below what you plan on reading in September or what you're looking forward to September, or you can kind of be like me, what's on your radar for September. As always, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button. If you're looking for ways to support my channel, the links will be down in the description box, as well as the links to my social media. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.